Here we go. Were you on that one? Let's see. They're literally knocking this whole building down. They're building a 250-person auditorium for seminars and workshops. Yep. All right, we've got Tom Hoge here today from the PGA Tour. He's 35 years old, former champion 2022 of the AT&T Pebble Beach Pro-Am. He's also got Scott Hamilton, one of the best coaches on the planet. He's going to be here with him today, and I think he's bringing a couple of his team members. Looking forward to meeting Tom. So if you guys like content like this and you want to see more, please hit the subscribe and like button below. Superpower, why are you on tour?
I hit my irons good.
Okay, and if I'm your stat guy, what's the area I need to improve the most?
Well, driving and putting, I would say.
Okay, tell me about driving.
I live around 170 ball speed and not very accurate. So.
Oh, so it's both. Okay. What's the miss?
Generally right miss.
Okay, so I always end this little interview with, imagine you're walking down the beach, you find a bottle, you rub on it, and a genie pops out. Let's say it's me, and I can give you 3 wishes today. I don't want to assume. How can we help?
190 ball speed.
Okay, so speed's number 1?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I look at it and say that if I could compete a little bit better on golf courses that are firm and fast, you know, a little more distance, a little higher.
Stop giving guys the club advantage.
Yep.
Driver's the main thing.
Yep.
In today's game, we all know that you don't want to give your fellow competitors any advantage. And one of the things that a lot of the young players coming into the game, they have is a lot of speed, right? So if my competitor is hitting the ball 180 miles an hour and I'm hitting it 170 miles an hour, well then the next club that we both hit, they're probably going to have one shorter club than me. So if my competitor's hitting an 8 iron and I'm hitting a 7 iron, statistically, they're going to get closer to the hole. That's going to be a big advantage over time. So we don't want to give those advantages away, or we have to have such a bigger superpower with your chipping, your putting, or other parts of your game to overcome that weakness. Physical stuff. Give me, what are you chronically working on?
Chronically working on left rotation, backswing stuff, hip flexibility, glutes, rotators, balance.
What do you think the main thing for speed for him is?
For speed?
Yeah.
I mean, we have different wants and desires. I'm more accuracy, he wants speed.
So if you had 3 wishes, what would they be?
He could just cruise it easy at 175.
And he's at so you're just a couple more miles an hour, just
yeah,
a couple.
Yeah.
He doesn't need 190.
Yeah.
So I think it's really important to listen to Scott here, right? He's talking about Tom's superpower is iron play. We don't need to be number 1 in driving if we're number 1 in iron play. So the driver doesn't need to be 190 miles an hour number 1 in accuracy. It just needs to be good enough so that his irons can actually attack the pin. If the driver is putting the ball out of play, well then we're gonna have a problem, right? So Scott's saying, hey, you don't need to be 190, you just need to show me 175 and keep the ball in play. And I kind of agree. So you have the same wish, but just not as, you don't think he needs as much as he thinks he needs.
Well, yeah, I mean, the thing is, like, we try to control the top of his golf swing all the time.
Yeah.
So, like, if he has a flaw, he'll get the shaft moving around, and when he gets bigger, wilder swings, then the shaft moves around more, and then his body doesn't operate as well. So if he had a more efficient power where he could use a shorter backswing to hit it farther, it'd be the ultimate.
Okay, that's good to know. Okay. So there's really a couple ways to create power. One of them is to take a longer swing. When you take a longer swing, you have more time to apply force and velocity to the club, and therefore you can hit it farther. That's called impulse. Now what Scott's telling us is that when Tom gets long, the club gets a little unstable. Maybe it gets across the line. He just doesn't like some of the positions. So he would prefer to keep a little shorter backswing. Well, now there's only 2 other options. That is, number 1 is apply more force so we can get a little stronger, right? Like some of the strong players that have these short backswings but hit the ball really far. And number 2 is more speed. We just got to get you quicker. So you can apply more force, more velocity, or create more time. If I don't have more time, I got to create more force or velocity.
Double plate ready.
Perfect. We're going to do 3 of those.
Double plate ready.
So the good news is what Scott was describing, what Tom was describing, what it sounded like is what it looks like, right? It looks like he's hitting a driver like an iron. Looks like he gets left early, more of a steeper attack angle into the ball, kind of like you would expect from a great iron player, but not really what we want to see for driving.
Double plate ready.
Okay, this par 5, get me home in 2 on this one.
Double plate ready.
Whoa, T almost got me. Okay. Let me take a look at that real fast. So the good news on the force plate, the first thing I look at is sequence, and Tom's sequence is great, right? He starts with lateral motion, he then shallows the club by rocking, then he twists and he jumps. And that's the sequence that I like to see with great ball strikers. Probably why he's a great iron striker as well. I look at the timing. His timing's great too. It's early, gives him enough time to transfer it to the club, which is all great. Doesn't explain why he's not hitting the ball as far. And then we look at the magnitude, and believe it or not, I was really thinking we're going to see low magnitudes across the board. What's interesting is his torque magnitudes, right? How much he rocks like this and how much he twists are above PGA Tour average. When I get to his lateral, how hard he pushes side to side, that's a little reduced. He's at 18% of his body weight, averages 23%. And when we get to his vertical, he's about 167% of his body weight. We like to see about 200%. So it's a little under the magnitudes of force, and it's above on torque. So kind of an interesting one.
One of his biggest flaws is, in which we fixed a bunch, but he likes to push his pelvis forward.
Yeah.
You know,
Instead of loading that trail
yeah.
leg.
So
Yeah.
when he lifts the foot up, he does way better keeping his trail side in place and then going in change of direction.
Let me look at the one where he didn't go after it. Let's see. So I'm not saying anything to Tom or to Scott right now, but there's definitely a difference when he goes after it. And the thing I'm noticing is that when he starts to apply force on his right leg is delayed. It's actually late. Now that could be from when he's lifting his leg, but he's not, it sounds like when you lift your leg, you'll start applying force. He's just shifting his weight, but he's not starting to push lateral from the right leg. It actually delayed it a little bit. That could be a problem.
Yeah, and that wasn't bad, but he'll push his pelvis out the door there. You can see, like, he gets that little bobble up top.
Yep.
I mean, one pebble, his golf swing at the top was amazing a couple of years ago.
Yeah, so Scott keeps mentioning that when things go wrong, he goes a little off at the top. In other words, maybe the club gets a little across the line, maybe he starts to early extend, move towards the golf ball, so stands up, his lower body moves towards the golf ball. And anytime you do that, well, that could bring in that right miss that Tom was describing, right? Because it's hard to recover when your body invades the space. So I'm conscious of that, and we're going to look at that in more detail when we get under 3D. And your preferred ball flight is what again?
Or a fade, especially off the tee, I would say. It's fade.
He's the only guy I teach that hits whatever shot.
Really?
Yeah, you know, like most of my guys are really biased one direction. He hits whatever's
Whatever it
required.
needs.
Yeah, old school kind of deal.
I always like to ask preferred ball flight because it helps understand their sequence when we look at force plate. Most players have a swing plane, in other words, the direction that the club travels on, that tends to favor a certain shot. Players that tend to fade the ball, a lot of times what they'll do is they'll get a little steep, right? They come a little from the outside in, face slightly open, it causes a little fade. What's interesting here is Scott is telling us that Tom can pretty much hit the shot you want, right? So you need to draw it, I can draw it. You need to fade it, you can fade it. You need to hit it straight, you can hit it straight. And if you think about it, that's a pretty good weapon to have, especially with iron play when you're approaching a green. Now you can pick the shot that's required, not the one that you got. Can I see a 6-iron? Sure. I want to see how different the driver is from an iron.
Double plate ready.
Let's do one more of those.
Double plate ready.
All right, let me take a quick peek at that. Just want to see if, do you feel like you have one swing, like iron and driver are the same?
I would say yes, but I don't know if that's true or not.
A lot of times players will think that there's just one swing. There's a million swings in golf that you have to learn. Do you hit flop shots? Do you hit bunker shots? Do you hit little, flighted low punch shots? I like to think of the driver as a specialty shot. It's a ball on a tee. Of course, you shouldn't hit a ball on a tee the same way you hit a ball on the ground. There should be some things that are different. And if you start mentally framing it that way, then it won't mess with your superpower, with your iron swing, right? You're like, oh, I would never try and hit my iron like a flop shot. It's the same thing with the driver. I see what you mean. Like like the maximum he ever gets on that right side is about 70%. Most guys so I can see that. That's actually good for an iron though. This tells me how you create power, right? This is like how you start power. This one I'm gonna hook you up now tells me how you transfer it through your body. So I wanna get that next and then I'll start talking. I don't wanna change anything, just do it. So that shows me how you start it. Now I'm gonna see how well you transfer it. All right, so now we're moved in 3D. It's really important now for me to see kind of the positions, where he's putting his body. And from what I'm looking at on the force plate, the lateral force was a little bit low. He was 18% of his body weight. Normally it's 23. Again, if you load onto your trail leg, as you push off your trail leg, you get big lateral forces. But if you don't, it's low. So I wanna see, is he moving his body in a position where He's not loading his right leg, and we might be able to see that with the 3D. All I'm doing is I'm looking just to see if there's an obvious. If you need power, it's either the arrow or the Indian. It's you or the swing, right? I'm looking at swing right now. It could be that, hey, you've maxed out the engine you got and we got to get bigger in the gym. I don't know, we'll find out. And Ben, just he's going to do like 3 real quick just for practice. The second thing I like to look at on 3D is how well you transfer energy through your body, right? So imagine if you create force great from the ground. Well, you now have to sequence this and time this and transfer it from the feet to the pelvis, to the trunk, to the arms and the club. I can now see how well you transfer this energy to see if there's some obvious power leaks. And 3D is really good at highlighting where you might be losing power. Okay, par 5, get me there in 2.
Okay.
Since we have it here, I'm gonna get your 6-iron. I think I know what we need to do with the driver, but I'm gonna say something you're not gonna like. Scott's right. We'll get to what that means in a second, but looks like Tom is loading left early. So in other words, his lower body starts moving towards the target way earlier than most players. And like Scott was saying, it moves a little bit towards the golf ball. So he's really not loading his trail leg. He's kind of going left early and early extending a little bit. Again, you can get away with this in an iron, but if you don't load that trail side, power and the miss becomes a problem with the driver. Seems to me like we could get some more out of the lower body. You're probably not loading it properly, and what someone's been telling you, but.
Well, that's fine. I just wanted to say Scott's right. You got no more speed here.
Oh no, I didn't say that. That's it.
I just keep asking, how do I get 5 more miles an hour? And he won't tell me. So
He doesn't care if you have 5 more miles an hour. He thinks you can win right now. So here's tell me what you think of this, Scott. I truly believe, like, if I said, do you have one golf swing? Do you think you have one golf swing?
very similar feels, but I understand you're probably doing something completely different with driver.
Like a bunker shot? Is that the same as a driver?
No.
I just want to make, you have different swings. You don't have one swing. There's multiple swings. Like there's all kinds of crazy swings.
Okay.
In my personal belief, just from looking at tons of data for a lot of years, the driver's a specialty shot. It's like a flop shot. If you try and do it like an iron, you're gonna suck. It's just it's a different shot. So just keep that in your mind, because I think you're hitting it like an iron.
Gotcha.
So I just want to see your iron real quick, just to make sure I'm right.
So I got 190 is what you're saying.
What I'm saying is, what he's worried about is if you go crazy with the driver, you start doing it in your iron.
Yeah.
But if you think you have one swing, you can do that really easy. But if your driver is like a flop shot, you don't try and do your flop shot in your iron shot, right?
Correct.
Right? So it can be different. Yeah, these are exactly the same. So that's kind of what I was suspecting here. So once again, now I look at his superpower, the iron, and it's exactly what we've been expecting. It looks exactly like we saw with the driver. I can go through and compare. I can look at literally any part of his body and compare, and you see they're almost identical. I'm looking at the pelvis, looking at all 6 degrees of motion of the pelvis, how much it's moving lateral, up and down, front to back, how much it's twisting, side bending, and tilting. And if you look at this from the pelvis and the trunk, they look identical. You really can't tell which club he's hitting. I should be able to identify which club he's hitting because the driver is a specialty shot. His iron and his driver are almost identical. The way he does is almost identical. Okay, so I can take this crap off and then I'll kind of walk you through what I'm seeing, but I really want to teach you a specialty shot for going after it with the driver. This is not what you would apply to your irons. Like, don't even think about this for an iron. Like, your irons will suck if you do this. You know what I mean, type of thing. That's.
Well, but in a certain way, I feel like I've had kind of that one where I lift my left heel and do a little bit of that.
You just lift your left heel and still do the same move. I'm going to talk about something a little different.
I know,
Yeah.
but I mean, shit, I get 7-8 miles an hour of that.
Oh no, yeah, because you're taking the club back farther. I get it. What he gets worried about is the club gets wobbly up there, and now you start doing it in your iron.
Yeah.
Again, you just can't apply what you're doing here
Yeah.
to your iron. Then he'll be fine. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And he's got a good reason to not like that. The key is like I asked you first, what's your superpower? Your main goal should always be to make your superpower better.
Yep.
Okay? Then if you can start to improve your kryptonites, great, right? But don't focus on kryptonite and make your superpower average. Like that's That's where guys totally screw up.
Well, but for me, like you go up to a Torrey Pines where you've got to drive it great.
Yeah.
I mean, those are the golf courses I've struggled at that
Yep.
I've got to get a little bit better at.
I don't like messing with superpowers. Everybody gets on tour, they have their superpower, and they have their weakness, and then what they do is they go, I got to get this better. And what they do is they focus on this gets better, then this becomes average, now you're off tour. What you should do is this. That's very important that happens. Like iron, whatever you're doing, the most important is that keeps getting better. Please don't mess with that, okay? And if you feel like, man, it's too hard to do it, I'm with you. His superpower is iron play, and the last thing in the world we want to do is mess with his superpower. So I think it's going to be really important with Tom. We want to maintain what you're doing with the iron, but build this new shot that you only use when the ball's on a tee. Here's what we typically see with the best drivers, right? And it's all about optimizing launch of the ball, right? I want low loft, low spin loft, right? If I can get those two things with a high launch angle, you're going to optimize your driver. So how do you do that? So here's what they do. Typically what they'll do is on the backswing, they're going to get somewhere here, maybe even earlier, they're going to start creating lateral resistance. So the first thing you're going to see is weight shift with best drivers in the world, right? Out of all the forces we talk about, the first thing we tend to see is we see weight shift. Second thing we see, most great drivers, they will shallow the club first and then steepen it late. They usually don't steepen it early and then try and shallow late, right? So what you're going to see is they're going to go lateral first, then they're going to do that rock and roll. They're going to twist this way. Then they're going to bring the club in front of them. They're going to twist, and then they're going to jump. That's the typical kinetic sequence with the best drivers in the world, right? So they go lateral, rock, twist, jump. So the first thing I do is I go, do you do that? I look to see what your sequence is. Not like how much do you do, numbers, I don't even care. Because if you have like the best numbers in the world, but it's out of sequence, I'm not sure if it's going to help us that much. Does that make sense? So the first thing I look at your sequence, I'm like, pretty good, a little bit of twist early, it might just because where the club is. Then I look at, okay, how hard do you do it? What's the magnitude? Like how hard are you pushing, right? So I put these yellow numbers over here. This is percent of body weight or a ratio compared to your body weight. Lateral, you push at 17.5% of your body weight. That's how hard you push lateral. 23% is normal on tour. So your lateral push is not as much as most guys. That's probably because you're used to going early left already. It's kind of hard to shut a shut door if it's already shut. Or if you load more on the right, you'd probably have more lateral going this way. Okay. Hence what Scott was telling you earlier, right? So I think we could get some more lateral drive here if we do what Scott said. If we load you more on your driver over here, we could probably get some more. Because that's 5%, 6% there that could lead to some more velocity, right? Now we go to here. Rock and twist, I always go, what are you more, a rock and roller or a twister? I'm like, it's pretty similar. So you've got a pretty good balance between your rock and twist, which I like. I like those being about the same. And then I get down to vertical. Your vertical, how hard you're pushing the ground, you push at about 170% of your body weight. Average on tour is 198, right? So I look at this and I'm like, if I wanted to get more speed here, this is how I start the speed, I could get a little more lateral, a little more push, a little more jump. That's where you would get more speed out of this. I mean, you can see like your trail leg, the most you load your trail leg right here is 78%. I would say most big drivers are at 92 to 98% by this point. I mean, they're really loaded, which helps them. Again, if I'm going to slam the door shut, I got to open it first. If it's already closed, it's kind of hard to slam it. If we can get your lateral better, this all gets better, which is kind of what Scott said when you walked in. So now I want to describe more about why we want to get more load on the trail leg. We saw with Tom's force plate that his lateral force was reduced and his vertical force was reduced. If I get you to load more on your trail leg, it encourages you to get off of your trail leg in the downswing. So believe it or not, you'll actually drive harder to get off, which increases your lateral force. Now when you increase your lateral force, I now need to increase my braking force. And one of the things that helps your braking force is your vertical force, right? So I've got lateral and vertical, both of those help brake your forward momentum. So typically if I get you to load more on your trail leg, not only does your lateral force go up, but your vertical force tends to go up too. Stay there in your setup. Does it always look like that? Have you tried to get rid of that?
I mean, a little bit, yeah.
Again, this is a specialty shot. What you're doing is you're setting up perfect for an iron. Like I can see why it's your superpower. Please don't mess with that, okay? I know that kind of freaks you out a little bit, but it's just the truth. Set up like you're in it again. Do you feel the right side of the stick's higher than the left?
No.
Okay, I want you to get the left side higher than the right. That's your chest. No, I'm not talking about your upper body. I'm talking about your lower body.
How do I get the lower body then?
You did exactly what I would think you would do is you tried to do with your upper body. Yeah, so watch me. Get yourself set up, right? Don't move this, right? That's your left hip high. Okay, like I know you've never done that before, right? You're this way, right?
Yeah.
So this way, first of all, this mirrors the attack angle of the driver.
Okay.
This is an iron,
Yep.
this is a driver.
Okay.
Okay, now what's really important is when I do this, your weight went left, right?
Okay.
The best drivers in the world are more here. You feel like this, look at me, you feel like you're gonna launch it that way, right?
Yeah.
That's what they feel like. You don't feel like that, you feel like you're gonna launch it down.
Yeah.
That's what I would change. So one of the interesting things that we've seen looking at data is side bend of the pelvis. Most players, when they set up for a driver, the pelvis is level or the lead hip is slightly higher, maybe 1 or 2 degrees. When you set up for an iron and not a driver, sometimes the right hip gets a little bit higher. Now, why does this matter? I always feel like your body follows the plane of your pelvis. In other words, if my pelvis is tilted so my back hip is up in the air, I'll swing more down, which is great for an iron. If my front hip, my left side is up, my arms will swing more up, which is great for a driver. So I always feel like the arms in the club will travel or follow the pelvis. So I look at Tom, he's setting up with his right side high. Well, that kind of feeds the nature of a great iron player. So here's what I like to do. Bump the left hip high, like I did, bump the left hip high.
There?
Just the pelvis, good. And now bring the weight, the whole thing. Yep, even a little bit more. Yes. Too hard? Or you want to try and hit a couple like that?
I can try. I don't
Remember, this is like a flop.
I get myself there.
Practice, just like you've learned how to do everything else.
There?
And now move it over. Yep. Does that not feel powerful from on your right leg?
Yeah.
Make your shoulders way more square.
I should be able to hit it 190.
Yeah.
I'm serious. Does that feel weak or does that feel powerful there?
No, I mean, it feels way more powerful.
And do you feel like for just a driver, you could do that setup and everything else you do the same?
Yeah, I hope so. So you're saying when I do this move and kind of go there, that's all this moving is my upper body.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
This is, you look like this right now. You look like this,
Yeah.
right? And I'm going, most great drivers are like this.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I think that's going to solve everything. It's going to get you loaded over here. You're going to keep the door open. So we're just going to open the door at the start so you can slam it shut on the downswing.
Yep.
You've started with the door shut and you go more shut and you're like, why am I not shutting the door? I'm like, it's already shut, dude. Right? Like that's kind of what I would do.
Yeah. Okay.
You want to try to hit a couple like that?
Yeah.
We start changing weight. Like if you shift your weight to your right hip wants to go up. You shift your weight to the left, your left hip wants to go up. But if you think about it with the driver, I want you to shift more to the right, but I don't want your right hip to go up. So being able to see that is very important.
Is that there or no?
Move the whole thing back a little bit more. Yep. I always feel like if you're going to drop a plumb bob down from your zipper, it'd be slightly behind the center of your stance.
Okay.
You understand what I say? Yep.
Yep.
Okay, and from there, listen, stay there in the backswing. On the downswing, just go left. Let's do a couple. That's great. Do it again. You just got to remember, you've never had to shut the door because it's already been shut. Now we need an aggressive downswing. Like step into the pitch.
I feel like when I'm setting up now,
Yep.
I'm so far like back here.
So now you got to go.
Yeah.
Remember, best drivers, they go lateral hard. Move the whole thing back.
Does that get it there though? Before I move back?
Yeah, that gets the left hip high. Yep. Now from here, you stay loaded right. Now go left on the downswing. Yes. Keep going. Watch. Each one's going to get better. Keep going. Now Tom's experiencing what I would expect him to experience, something different. This feels different, right? You can tell he doesn't do this. He's not used to doing this. He's set up for an iron. His body doesn't know what it feels like. And I'm telling you, if you do this a couple times, real quickly he's going to start to go, actually, I think this is more powerful. A little bit more back. A little bit more back. Yes. There you go. Or do you like things to work on, like hard things to work on, like new things to add? Does that get you like fired up, or you hate?
I prefer it's easy, but
Gotta give you something challenging. It can't be too easy. I think it's also good to remember right now is how many times Tom do you think has done the old swing in his career? Millions of times, or else he wouldn't be who he is. He wouldn't be on the PGA Tour. And when you try a new motor pattern, it's going to feel really weird. And I'd say probably feels stranger to a tour player than an amateur, right? Because they've spent so much time grooving their old swing that these changes can feel massive because they are. Feel like, just go ahead and set up. Bump your left hip forward. Bump your left hip high and forward. Now bring everything back. Bring everything. A little bit more back. Yep. Yep. So hold on a second. Hold on a second. Okay, go ahead and hit one. Now,
Pretty good, huh?
you're like, that feels crazy. That looks normal, right? All right, here we go. Now I'm telling you, we just got to get more aggressive. Just get aggressive going left, going towards the target. But then that looks so much normal than you thought, right? You thought it was going to look crazy, right? I think it's always important to stop and take a video of your swing whenever you're working on something, because it feels so different to you than what it looks like. Feel and real can be very different. And I think sometimes when you're changing your weight shift, you're going, man, this feels like it looks really bad. And what's very common, what you just saw with Tom, is that when you show them what it looks like, they're like, hey, that doesn't look anything like it feels. That actually looks normal. It just gives them confirmation that they haven't overdone anything and that they've got to keep going.
Am I doing that, or is that?
That's good. That's good. Now move everything back. Back of your, yeah, right there. Now just stay there in the backside and go left. I mean,
It does feel like I have just a lot of room to.
you want me to put the TrackMan on?
Sure.
Sea level. This is pretty much as slow as.
Somehow
This is the slowest spot on in the U.S. I'm telling you, it won't take you many for you to go, because I want you to do a couple more, and then I want you to go back to your right hip high and hit the other way. It'll feel more powerful this way.
Do I have to?
That's good. That's a good answer. I don't know. You don't.
What's funny was, we were working before the start of the year, and I was doing more that move.
You probably.
Yeah, we.
But I just felt like I'm so far.
But listen,
I feel like
yep.
I'm just gonna hit it like
When
that.
you do that, your hip just bumped forward.
Yeah.
Pelvis got to come back.
Oh yeah.
Oop, got me. Okay, do the old setup. Look at his face. He's like, I don't want to do it. Yeah.
Down the cart without working so
Yeah.
hard.
Doesn't that feel like you're going to hit it down if you don't do something?
Yeah. So I mean, I've obviously had to.
Do it. Just do it. Yeah, do it.
Back out of it, right?
But think about it, with an iron, you can hit down on it.
Yeah.
You're fine. You don't have to recover.
There.
You don't even want to do the old one, do you?
No.
You wouldn't do it.
Is that good?
Yeah.
170, right?
Dude, I'm all in. So after watching him hit first couple balls here, maybe the first dozen here, you can tell this is definitely the direction we want to go. I can see it, and I think he can feel. Like, it might be 1 out of 3, 1 out of 4 right now, but when he does it, I think you can see the light bulb going, wow, I've never done this before, and that feels powerful. I think the key here is trying to get the setup comfortable, because he's so used to doing the other way, he's almost got to build a new process so that he has to go through step 1, step 2, step 3, and make sure he goes through those steps as much times as he needs to learn it so he doesn't have to think about it. Yeah, that's getting better. And now move it back. Nice. Keep it there. I love that.
Can't believe how low it's coming out.
So tell me about your fit with your driver.
What about it?
Tell me what is.
Just A1 standard 9 degree.
And what's your typical flight? How are you usually around the 100 foot? Like, where are you at?
Yeah, I would say I'm 100 foot.
105.
Just because of your attack angle is probably gonna be different now, I'm wondering if we might need more loft on that driver. Okay, so now we're at that point where I can see he likes it, I like it, but I'm still seeing some ball flights that maybe aren't optimal. Now this is really important, that if you had a downward attack angle and you were fit, the fitter is going to fit you with a club that actually fits for a downward attack angle. If you now change to a positive attack angle, well, now maybe the club you were fit for doesn't fit you properly, right? So I want to get the launch monitor now to see if we're optimizing transfer from the club to the ball, because we might need to do some club tweaks. And what's normal club head speed? I'd like really, yeah.
114, 15.
What's the club head speed on these?
It's 118.2, 176.
We gotta get to 30.
But listen, if you said you're normally cruising at 115?
Yeah, well, it's stock range shots, 114, 15.
I mean, if you can cruise at 118, we're done, dude. Your iron game is enough. You're done.
Yeah.
It's 2 up.
What's it normally, the attack?
He hits it faster, about 2 up and 4.
Yeah. Good. And the more you go back here, the harder you're going to
Am I
swing.
keeping?
I love that.
Does that keep my hips level?
Does that feel powerful? Like you can launch this thing?
Yeah.
Like I'm.
I just
Yeah.
want to make sure. I just want to make sure when I get there that I don't bring it back.
Correct.
Go back
I agree.
to that.
I agree. Yeah. I was killed.
178.7, ball speed, 119.7.
Dude, I'm telling you, at sea level, you don't need to hit it farther than that. If you're
I
iron,
need 190. We got a big bet at 190.
Said he wasn't.
I mean, look how good that is, dude. I mean, are you serious? Let's do this.
It is interesting
Come on,
because I feel
come
like
on.
I'm
Grass.
I feel like I am much more consistent with most of them are 77, 78.
So now I think we're at that point where I think he understands what we want. I think he's seeing the positive benefits. Now I want to go with like full process. I want to pretend like we're actually playing now. I want to go out on the tee box. I want to tee up on the grass, have him run through, and just see his first reaction. Does he like it? Yeah, don't go any more forward than that. Yeah. And think about this, the more you get over here, the more you got to go over here. And the more aggressive you are on the downswing, the left side of the golf course disappears.
Yeah.
Right? So the more aggressive, the better. Even more. Let's exaggerate one, yeah. Now stay there in the backswing and go. That was actually good. Now just release it. Go hard. Go left on the downswing. Play that all day long. I would think that this completely changes the way you're pushing from your right leg.
Okay.
Does it feel like it's totally different?
A little bit. Yeah.
Well, his right foot's working way different.
Now get back there with the pelvis.
There.
More. Yep, I want you to exaggerate. I really want the club guys to check that to make sure that that's not a setting and a release.
Yeah.
I'd hate for you to be doing it perfect and then now the club's not fit right for that.
Yeah.
Okay, so like I saw before and I'm seeing it even more now is I think it's better and I like what he's doing. I'm just not sure if the club matches properly because I'm seeing some left ball flights, maybe even some trajectory differences that I don't think we should see right now. And I think that if I brought one of our fitters out here, that I think we might be able to dial this in just with the club. I'm just checking to see if I think he might, oh, wait, shit, hold on. Oh, you're coming. Okay, sweet. Not only did I find a fitter, I found Chris Tuden, the head of our entire tour department, and Steve Pelisek, the head of Titleist Golf Clubs. We're both right next door to us here, so they're going to come over and help, and now I know we're going to get dialed in. So, stand over here. Chris, I'm going to show you.
Just hitting bombs.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
He's killing it right now, but we did a pretty significant change. I just want you to see that. And so, Tom, walk him through your change.
Yep. I've got to get the left pelvis higher than the right. How am I doing?
Yep.
And I've got to back it all up over here.
So we basically literally have changed the attack angle. And he's bombing it, but I just wanted someone just to make sure that the fit is still right because it was fit for more down. We want to be able to hit this ball at an optimum launch angle and spin to make the ball go the farthest. And that spin tends to be somewhere around 2,200 to 2,500 degrees on most drivers. There are two ways to create spin. One is clubhead speed. So in other words, the harder you swing, the more spin you create. If you spin it too much, the ball will balloon up and you'll lose distance. If you don't spin it enough, it drops out of the sky like a knuckleball and it'll come down short. So there's this sweet spot where we want spin. If we get Tom moving the club faster, not only will he hit the ball harder, but he might increase the spin so that the ball balloons and it negates the distance gains. We don't want to do that. We want to be able to increase your clubhead speed to make the ball go farther, but not make your spin go up, right? Because the higher your clubhead speed, the more spin you create. He went from 114, 15 club to 118, and it's going 160. So I mean, it's a big change just by
I
setup.
get to 190, so we got a ways to go. Right?
He has a bet with Scott, so he's trying to beat the bet. But we're very happy with 4 miles an hour. So it's squaring him up too, which we'll take that all day long. You can see his face. When he does that, he likes. The good news is there's a second factor that controls spin, and that's called spin loft. So as you increase your clubhead speed, your spin goes up. So what we want to do is we want to reduce spin loft to bring your spin back down. Now what's spin loft? Spin loft is the difference between your attack angle, that's the direction your club is traveling. So if your club is traveling down through impact, that's a negative attack angle, whereas if it's traveling up, that's a positive attack angle. It's the difference between your attack angle and think of it as the loft of your club. So when you hit the ball, if your driver has, let's say 10 degrees aloft, but it's traveling down at 2 degrees. So if you have a negative attack angle, 2 degrees, and a loft of 10 degrees, the spin loft's the difference. From -2 to 10 is 12 degrees. That'd be 12 degrees of spin loft. If I want to reduce your spin, if I'm increasing your driving speed, your club head speed, your spin's going to go up. To reduce your spin, I got to reduce your spin loft. So I either need to lower the loft on the club, or I need to increase the attack angle. Most of the best drivers in the world do both. They swing up to get a positive attack angle and have a lower lofted driver. We started out, there was a bunch of low ones, and I was like, I'm wondering if we need to add some loft on there now, but now you can see he could just need to had to hit more.
Was it when you moved him this way?
Yeah, he literally was right hip high like this. That's why he's such a great iron player, and he was hitting his driver like that. So we went here, over here, and now he's hitting the driver like this, and I'm like, let's just make sure the weapon's still right. Yeah. Like I want to make sure left should disappear when he does this. If he gets aggressive.
What do we get?
119 swing speed.
119.
9 to 2700 right there.
Nice, good. There's the one. That's the one you wanted to see.
You like it coming out of that window?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I feel like I play a lot of wind at home.
Yeah, no, I hear
on
you.
the lower
Yeah.
side of things, I would
So
say.
that's at 9 at 2000 basically. Carried 300. 80 ball speed. Could go up a tad.
The key numbers here that we're looking for on the launch model is we're looking for your launch angle, right, to make sure it's got that optimal launch angle somewhere between that 10 and 12 degrees. We're looking for the optimum spin. We don't want to make sure that the ball's not spinning too much or not spinning enough, right? That'll give us an idea if we have to affect the loft. And we'll look at that attack angle like we talked about because that controls that spin loft. Those numbers are really important to dialing this in. That was my first gut, was I thought it might need to go up a little bit.
That's been my problem to start off the year so far. They've been low on spin. So we've been.
Might drop your speed a tiny bit.
Yeah, see, I think that would have gone left last time.
78 ball speed. It might be a tick down with that loft, but I mean you're going to be hitting where you
I think it prevents that left miss. The question is, are you okay losing a mile an hour for that?
10 at 2200 there. I mean that's pretty darn good.
What's the club head speed?
Carry 304.
What's
Club speed 119.
I mean, you're still.
I told you I'd be okay going from 190 to 189.
Well, listen, I told you, if you're going from 115 to 119 club head speed, it's all going to get good. Doesn't matter.
The 180 ball speed was a 120 swing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
your swing, the swing speed's 119.
Yeah.
That's where that drop is coming from.
How's that, James?
I like the look of this one way better.
Explosion's a lot better.
We're not seeing those weird miss ones. So you can see we're starting to get dialed in now. We got perfect launch angle here. We're getting close. That was a 9-degree launch angle. Again, 10 and a half would be perfect. And at 2000 spin, like I said, somewhere between that 2000 and 2500, maybe 2200 would be perfect, but we're starting to get this dialed in, which is what I like to see. Tom, they were saying the other one, the spin was just too low.
Yeah.
And
So
your
this at least,
been good.
yeah. So I think, listen, if you take your superpower is iron, if you put 118, 119 club head speed on the superpower of iron, you can win any tournament in the entire year.
Well, and what's funny is this year in tournament play, like I've been, go and look at the tour cast or whatever afterwards, and I've been struggling to get above 170 the whole time. So
You won't anymore. You haven't been using your right leg. You've been on your left side hitting down, right? Now you're driving off your right leg and you're like, first swing was like 4 miles an hour club. It's crazy.
But it hangs in there better than that.
Love it.
Yeah, for sure.
Like I said, if that's as bad as it gets, we're good.
80 and 20 and a half.
Just say 90 and we can walk away. So good.
should I be feeling that I'm pushing from there?
Yeah, because you've never done that before. You've always been left
On the
already.
way through, I'm pushing off that right foot.
That's what's getting you the speed right now. I mean,
I love that.
thank you. We're good. That's your club. I can tell you right now. So this is exactly where we wanted to end up. We've got a swing that Tom can feel is more powerful. You can tell he feels like he's making better contact. His speed numbers are up, and now we've got the right club in his hand. We added just a little bit of loft here, and all that's doing is it's allowing the face to be a little more open when he comes through, because when you add loft, it tends to open up. It'll make a little bit more spin to keep the ball up in the air a little bit more, and it definitely eliminates the left side, right? If there's gonna be a miss, it's gonna be that block, and those are all great things for Tom.
So you'd
Okay.
hit every drive like this week.
What did you not like about that? Yes, please.
11 at 22. Carry 308.
The key is the club head speed, because if your club head speed is going fast, you'll figure out how to get the efficiency up even more. Like you said, I'm cruising at 115. If you cruise at 119, dude, the world's going to change.
Yeah.
No question.
That's a big difference.
That's a huge difference.
4 miles an hour faster.
It's a huge difference. Thank you, boys. Perfect. That's perfect. That's perfect. All right, so it was a pleasure working with Tom today. What a great player. A great lesson here is that your iron and your driver shouldn't be the same swing. Driver is more like a specialty shot. You're hitting a ball on a tee, you want to be hitting up. It's always great to see players make changes really quick, even though you can see the feels are extreme. But if you're doing the right thing, I always say it might feel different, but it should feel good. Like I can tell this is the right way. And I can see on his face, and you can see Scott Hamilton, his coach, likes it. I think there's going to be some good stuff for Tom here in the future. If you like videos like this and more content from MyTPI, make sure you hit the like and subscribe button below. We'll keep you notified anytime a new video launches.